Right, as a part of the India Global Forum, UAE 2021, we are also hosting, very much like yesterday, the Global Disruptors Series. We're bringing together dynamic founders from India and the UAE, and these unicorn businesses, we'll bring them all here on the same stage. Just like yesterday, we are now going to take a look into the minds of trailblazers whose cutting-edge, innovative ideas really have disrupted the market and changed the way that we do business. So we start off with e-market to market. So most businesses go from conventional stores to digital, right? Well, our next guest has done the exact opposite. He's on record today talking about the importance of having a builder's mentality and not a trader's. Another interesting fact is that he is the only first person in his family not to have joined the Army, Navy, or workforce. Very interesting. Ladies and gentlemen, please give a very warm welcome to Yashish Dahiya, Chairman and CEO of PB Fintech. Thank you so much. Yashish, fantastic to have you here. Thank you for making some time for us.
Pleasure to be here.
Very kind of you. I have a feeling that our time here is not going to be long enough, as it never is, sadly. Let's get stuck in with your experience in setting up Policy Bazaar, the idea behind the venture, and tell our audience a little bit more about exactly what the company is and does.
Policy Bazaar and Paisabazaar, these are two ventures that we run as part of PB Fintech, and both of these are marketplaces. However, since you asked why exactly did we start these businesses, way back in 2008, when we looked at the Indian market, there was very low protection for the middle class from a health perspective or a death perspective, as I call it, the 3 Ds, the death, disease, or disability. If any of these three happen to people, the amount of protection they had was extremely low, and we thought that was a very serious problem, because if you look at India, a generation ago or 2 generations ago, there was a joint family system that used to address such events. I come from a place called in Haryana, where if there was a death of the primary earning member, the other members would take over the responsibilities of the family, so to say. But those systems have broken down in the last generation, and now with the nuclear families, it was a necessity to have something else as a backup. And that is where we started our journey of essentially educating the consumer on the need for such protection, and also offering them a research platform from where, and then that encouraged companies to create viable products. And the whole piece is, yes, today we have something like life insurance is more research than car insurance in India. Health insurance and life insurance both are the most sold products on the internet. So it's different from most other parts of the world. And that was an interesting dynamic to have built out over the last 13 years. And about 6-7 years ago, we started Paisabazaar with a similar view on lending.
Very interesting. And tell us a little bit more about this journey to become a unicorn as well then. How has that played out?
I think that is more to say about the markets and how they've encouraged us and the investors. As I said, and I think you mentioned it in your introduction, I'm kind of known for this. I do not have a valuation mindset, so the word unicorn is associated with a particular valuation. I accept it, but these numbers can disappear anytime. They are there, they are not there. I believe fundamentally what you are doing is you're transforming an entire industry, and now we are transforming it at scale. So when we started, we were very small, but today we are perhaps amongst the 2-3 largest insurance distributors in the country. We must be in the top 10 insurance entities in the country, and the growth rates are different, right? If you looked at us, like let me say, if I was to compare ourselves with the 2nd, 3rd largest insurance companies in the market, we might have been 1/20th, 1/30th their size 5 years ago, but today we are perhaps half their size. And I think in the next 3-5 years, we cannot make forward statements as a public company, but let's see what the future holds. So that growth at scale starts to become astounding. When you reach sort of scale and you're still growing at, at the same ferocious pace as you were when you were young, then that starts to become real transformation.
It's been very interesting to hear about this transition from e-market to market.
Yes.
How easy was that, and what sort of inspired that decision as well?
So actually, it's a very recent decision, and many a times we are, slaves of our own limitations of our thought processes. So we always believed that, we must keep a remote presence with the consumer and never visit the customer in person. And there's a very small anecdote, right? When we started Policybazaar, we actually had a physical team, about 12, 13 people. And I remember once Aviva, deputy CEO called me and he said, "We're doing great business with you. We sold a few hundred policies last month." And I was kind of looking a bit puzzled and I said, "I don't remember selling anything for Aviva, so how did that happen?" And he explained, somebody in the team explained that the business was happening. It was just happening under another code, and our own 12 employees were doing that. So from that day onwards, I decided never to have a physical workforce, and I decided to do, only remote business. But early this year, we discovered that if we were willing to meet the same customer who's coming to us online in their houses, then the ticket sizes grow, the amount, the number of policies we can sell to the consumer grows, the conversion rates grow. And so we were able to derive a lot more from the same inquiry. Now, putting a physical infrastructure across a country like India is not easy. And hence the challenge over the next couple of years of building that out. But wherever we are building it out, it's giving us very good results. And so this is a journey that's going to continue. And now comes the question of how do we control quality while having the physical infrastructure, both quality of the sales process, in terms of the quality of information being given out to consumers, and the quality of information flowing back from consumers in terms of their own disclosures. Because insurance and lending both tend to be very heavily disclosure-based products, and hence having the right disclosure is critical.
Do you think the pandemic has, in a way, got people excited, or post-pandemic, got people excited about meeting people face-to-face again? Has that been a benefit as well, do you think?
Actually, it's a very interesting thing. You just reminded me of why the pandemic has played a role in this discovery. So when the pandemic happened, we had a central office of about 10,000 employees, and we had to shut that down. But we carried on working through remote locations. All our 10,000 employees kept working, and many of them went back to their hometowns. And what we found was, over time, some of these people started doing extremely well. And when we figured out why that was happening, because we had started directing local inquiries towards them, and they had also started meeting these people. Because in the locations, in the tier 2, tier 3 towns, people were very happy to meet. There wasn't that same resistance to meet as it was in the larger towns. And hence this was in a way a discovery to us that you could have far higher productivity through physical meetings than you could have through the remote piece. And the other thing I would say is, in our own organization, we used to run a project called Allow People to Work from Home, and that project never reached 100 people. Despite all our technology people and all our sales people putting in their best efforts and reporting to me every week that they were putting in their best efforts, the moment COVID happened, obviously we all know what happened, right? So 10,000 people happened to work from home overnight, and that project worked brilliantly. So, I think that joke is quite valid, that what the CTO or the CEO could not drive, COVID drove in terms of work from home and digital transformation. Nobody could have imagined that these 10,000 employees could actually work from home, spread out over wherever they were. There were all kinds of issues raised, data issues, connectivity issues. You can imagine dealing in a financial product, but all those issues overnight disappeared because life had to continue.
So interesting to see how we've managed to adapt so quickly as well. It really has accelerated a lot in terms of digital transformation, hasn't it?
No, absolutely. And, on that one, I would actually like to give a lot of credit to the depth of the team. And I think as we build organizations, as many people build unicorns, that's one of the things you have to, I think about, is the depth of the team. Because remember, these 10,000 people working from home cannot happen only through technology. They have managers, they have, people, and all of those people have to be motivated to make it happen. And I think the beautiful part was, if I go back to 19th of March 2020, when this, when the lockdown was sort of forced on us, and we shut down our offices on 19th of March. On 20th of March, from 9 a.m. to 10 a.m., our sales were exactly the same as they were on 19th of March from 9 a.m. to 10 a.m. And that is not something Yashish Dahiya could drive, or Neeraj Gupta could drive, or a few people could drive. That was because of the depth of involvement of the team, because there would be at least 300-400 people who would have been instrumental in making that happen. Because remember, these people have gone home and they are still continuing to sell financial products which used to be all sold from a central infrastructure. And it just carries on like that. So I think, yes, it taught us a lot, but it was the team's commitment to making it happen that made it happen.
Tell us a little bit more about Dubai and the UAE within your growth story. How important has Dubai been for that in terms of growth and regional growth as well?
Absolutely. I'll share with you 2 points on that. One is how we started looking at Dubai and how we look at Dubai and the UAE today. And there's a big transformation in that thought process. When we started, we were not thinking this way. So when we started, when I first visited Dubai, I saw a lot of Indian diaspora here. And I also saw that a lot of those people would have to, once they are 60, be back in India. And I realized, being in insurance, that that's when your claims start coming. Health insurance, life insurance. And I said, and the other thing I realized was, especially for the blue collar workers, that a lot of their families were back home. So as I would talk to the taxi driver, he would not even say health insurance, he would say family insurance. Because the family back home had to have some level of insurance. And so that kind of got me thinking, and there was almost none of it happening at scale. So we first started addressing that part of the market. And then we said, look, this is getting interesting. The numbers became quite intriguing for us. And then we set up a full-fledged office in Dubai, which was PolicyBazaar.com, and it does both the credit and the... however, again, our thinking went through a transformation. We applied for a license to become a broker, and we were bewildered. Like we were kind of, astounded by the speed at which we received that license. And, we really thank the authorities here for that. Or we received the permission to go ahead with the license. But once we received that, we suddenly realized there was a process to be followed. Being, we are a company headquartered in India, listed in India. There's a particular process for a company with financial services interests to be investing into financial services interests abroad. And we suddenly realized it was not so straightforward. So we worked around that, and that's taken a bit of time. But that kind of gave me another very interesting opportunity. I realized that, PolicyBazaar cannot go global all over the world as PolicyBazaar. That would take way too much bandwidth and, too much complexity. However, it has certain core technologies, certain core skills that it has, which others can benefit from. And so it can become the catalyst. And the ideal place to house that entity genuinely is Dubai and UAE. And so that became, all the stuff that we have done, whether it's in technology, whether it's in AI, whether it's in, the actuarial product creation, all of it can be housed here and should be housed here ideally. So as I start speaking to, B2B people in the US, in Europe, all of them are keen to work in the company which is housed out of the UAE. And I think so. We are no longer looking at it as a market, because it was interesting, right? People used to ask me the same question. That, look, you're already in India. Why exactly are you going to UAE, which is a relatively small country and a small population. And I said, look, to me, it's like a very rich, it's like, I shouldn't say it, but it's like Bombay 2040. And so it's a very rich Bombay to me. And so why would I not be in Dubai, right? Because it's very Indian in that context. And so it's just another, I can't say that, but I used to see it more as another Indian city and a very rich Indian city. And from that, my thought process has changed. As I said, sometimes we are slaves of our own thinking ability. My thought process has changed. I don't see it as a market any longer. I see it as a hub to create, and as a hub where ease of business is very high. Because as I said, it took me almost no time to receive our licenses here. And that to me was astounding.
We only have a couple of minutes, sadly, but I want you to finish with some advice maybe to those that are looking to get into this online marketplace such as yours, what to do in this very highly competitive landscape as well. What advice would you give them?
See, I think advice is cheap and advice is useless. But still, I will go ahead and kind of give it. See, technology is global. Technology is not in a country. So if you are planning to get into it, don't think from a country perspective in terms of market, whether it's India, whether it's the US, whether it's the UAE. Of course, if it's the UAE, you have to think global because as a market, it's quite small, and otherwise the economies of scope and scale make it impossible for a person to exist just in one country. And I think one has to think that way from day one. That if I could leave with just that one singular, that's my own learning on how I built Policy Bazaar and how I would like to build the next phase of Policy Bazaar. I think whatever we do, we have to be able to think global from day one and implement it that way.
Yashish, it's been truly fascinating speaking with you. I can't thank you enough. I wish you all the best going forward. Ladies and gentlemen, let's hear it for Yashish Dahiya.
Thank you.